Hi students, in this video you are going to see about chapter 12 continuation, creating database. So before to create a database we have to install the software into your system. After that only we can create the database. So how to create a database now? Type the following command in the prompt. So we have a prompt, so that place only we have to type the command. So what is the command now? Create database name. So create database. Database name is the user defined, that is what database we are going to create. So that name we can give here. For example, create databases stud they given, so stud, that is the database name. So whatever name you want, that you can give here. Now we created the database. Next we want to work into the database. So for that we have to give the command use database. For example, so the database name is a stud, so that's why we have to give stud. So the database name we have to give. So end of each line of a command you have to give the semicolon, so that is a must. Next we are going to see about the WAMP. WAMP. So WAMP stands for Windows, Apache, MySQL and PHP. So this WAMP is a variation of LAMP for Windows system and is installed as a software bundle. So if you see this WAMP now, it is a software bundle. It contains more than one software. What are the software now? Apache, MySQL and PHP. So all the softwares we have in this one software bundle. It is often used for web development and internal testing. So if you want to develop your web pages now, so that time we can use this software. Same time after the development we want to check whether it is working correctly, properly or not. So that testing also we can do with the help of this software, but may also be used to serve live websites. So live websites means if we are searching some data from some websites, so we can see the advertisements. So that websites are a live websites. So if you see some web pages, you can see the cricket score also. So always the web pages are updating automatically, so that time they are using like these kind of softwares. So whenever we are using this softwares, that time only we can make the website as a live websites. Next we are going to see components of SQL. So SQL commands are divided into 5 categories. DML, data manipulation language; DDL, data definition language; DCL, data control language; TCL, transaction control language; DQL, data query language. So we have 5 difference of SQL commands. So first one DML, second one DDL, third one DCL, fourth one TCL, fifth one DQL. First we are going to see about data definition language, that is a DDL. The data definition language consists of SQL statement used to define the database structure or a schema. So with the help of this DDL command we can create the structure of the table. So the table only they are saying as a schema. It simply deals with descriptions of the database schema and is used to create and modify the structure of database objects in databases. So whenever we want to create a table, so we have to decide how many columns we need, how many rows we need. So each column, what are the entities we need, so everything, what are the fields we need, everything we have to know that. The DDL provides a set of definitions to specify the storage structures and access methods used by the database system. So here we have to specify the storage structures also, and access methods also we have to say in this data definition language. A DDL performs the following functions. It should identify the type of data division such as data item, segment, record and database file. So this DDL, it identify the type of data divisions. So if we are taking the data na, it have many divisions, so everything it will identify. It gives a unique name to each data item type, record type, file type and database. So it for a each data item, record type, file type and database, it gives a unique name. It should specify the proper data type. So we have to mention which kind of data is that. It may be a integer or a string or float. So like that we have to specify the data type. Next one, it should define the size of the data item. So what is the size, that also we have to mention. It may be defined the range of values that a data item may use. So sometimes when the user are entering the data into the table, so they don't know how many letters they want to type it or else how many digits they want to type it. So that time we have to mention the range of values. It may specify privacy locks for preventing unauthorized data entry. So it have a privacy locks. So some data, some kind of data we have to protect from the user, so they cannot able to change. So that time we have to give the privacy locks for the data. So sometimes unknown person also cannot able to access the data if we give the privacy locks. Next we are going to see SQL commands, which comes under data definition language. So under the DDL we have 4 SQL commands. First one, create. So this command we are using to create the tables in the database. Alters the structure of the database. Suppose initially I created a table with 5 rows and 5 columns. Later I want to add the 6th column, so that time I can use the alter command. Next one is a drop. Delete tables from database. If you want to delete any table now, so that time we can use the drop table. So it complete table delete from the database. Next one, truncate. It removes all records from a table, also release the space occupied by those records. So truncates, if we use a truncate command, what it will do, it delete the records from the table, but the structure of the table it be there, but the records alone it will delete. Then the space occupied by the records, அந்த ரெக்கார்டை ஸ்டோர் பண்ணி வைக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு மெமரி ஸ்பேஸ் இருக்கும், அந்த ஸ்பேஸையும் அது வந்து கிளியர் பண்ணிடும். Then only we can store the rest of the data. So we have 4 commands, SQL commands under data definition language. First one, create, alter, drop and truncate. Next we are going to see data manipulation language. A data manipulation language, shortly we can call it as DML, is a computer programming language used for adding, that is inserting, removing, that is deleting, and modifying, that is updating data in a database. So this DML commands we are using to change the data from the table. That is, if you want to add a new data, that we can do it with the help of DML commands. Like that, if you want to delete any data or you want to change some data from the table, that also we can do with the help of this DML commands. In SQL, the data manipulation language comprises the SQL data change statements, which modify stored data but not the schema of the database table. If we are using the modifying, that is the updating command, it will change only the data, it won't change the structure of the table. After the database schema has been specified and the database has been created, the data can be manipulated using a set of procedures which are expressed by DML. So if you want to do the DML operation, first we have to create a table. So once the table is created, once the database is created, we can do all these operations in the table. So by data manipulations we mean insertion of new information into the database. So we can insert the new information, retrieval of information stored in a database. If you want to view any information from the database, that also we can do it. deletion of information from the database. If you want to delete anything or unwanted data, anything stored in the table, that also we can do it. Modification of data stored in the database. So modification means, for example, student name Arjun I stored in the database, but I want to change Arjun as a Aravind. So that time I am changing Arjun as a Aravind. So that only we are saying as a modification. The DML is basically of two types. One is a procedural DML, another one is a non-procedural DML. In procedural DML, it requires a user to specify what data is needed and how to get it. என்ன data வேணுமோ அதை நம்ம specify பண்ணணும். Same time how we can get it, that also we have to specify in procedural DML. But in non-procedural DML, we have to say only what data we need, but we don't want to specify how to get it. So this is the difference between procedural DML and non-procedural DML. Next we are going to see SQL commands which comes under data manipulation language. Insert, it insert the data into the table. Update, it updates the existing data within a table. Delete, it delete all records from a table but not the space occupied by them. Insert command use பண்ணி we can insert the new data into the table. When we are using update command, we can do some alteration in the data available from the table. Next, if we use the delete command, it deletes the data, but the space what it occupied, it won't be deleted, it be there only. Next we are going to see data control language. A data control language, shortly we can call it as a DCL, is a programming language used to control the access of data stored in a database. So it is used for controlling privileges in the database, that is authorization. For example, so when we store once we store the data into the table, so we have to give some privileges. So then only the unknown person, they cannot able to access the database as well as the table. Then some data the administrator, that is the database administrator only can able to change. The normal user, they cannot able to change it. So that time we have to give permission for the user, so which data only they can able to change. So like that we have to give permission. So that time we can use this data control language. So the privileges are required for performing all the database operations such as creating sequences, views of tables, etc. So here we have two commands. One is a grant, another one is a revoke. So if we use the grant command, it grants permission to one or more users to perform specific task. So it gives the permission to the user to work into the table. Revoke, so revoke means whatever permission it given, it get back the permission. So that time we can use the revoke command. So revoke, it withdraws the access permission given by the grant statement. So we have two SQL commands in DCL. One is a grant, another one is a revoke. Next we are going to see transactional control language. So transactional control language, shortly we can say as a TCL. Commands are used to manage transactions in the database. They are used to manage the changes made to the data in a table by DML statements. So with the DML statements, with the help of the DML statement, we are doing some changes in the table. But if we are doing some changes now, suppose we don't want the changes now, how we can get back that now? With the help of TCL SQL command. So here we have three SQL command under transaction control language. First one is the commit. So commit means it saves any transaction into the database permanently. If we are doing some modification, it saves that modification permanently. Next one, a rollback. So rollback is nothing but a undo. So undo we are using like that. So it restores the database to last commit state. Now I am changing the name Arjun into Aravind. Now I don't want to change, I need a Arjun again now. So that time I can use the rollback command. Next one is a save point. Temporarily save your transaction so that you can roll back. So whatever changes we are doing, it temporarily stores all the transaction. Then only whenever we need, if we need now, that we can get back with the help of rollback command. So we have 3 SQL commands under transaction control language. First one is a commit, second one rollback, third one is a save point. Next one is the data query language. Data query language consists of commands used to query or retrieve data from a database. One such SQL command in data query language is select. So data query language, so we have only one query language, that is a select. It displays the records from the table. So in this data query language we have only one command, that is a select. So with the help of this select command we can display the records whatever available in the table, or if you want to display a specific data from the table, that also we can see with the help of this data query language SQL command. That's all students. So in this video you learned about how to create a database, then different components of SQL. You read in your book once or twice, then you learn all the commands. So each command, which purpose we are using, everything you want to learn it. Thank you students.